So we're back in the kitchen here with Father Brian McGrath. He's the pastor of St. John's in Agawam, and we asked him to come up with a Lenten recipe, and can't be sweet, can't be candy, can't be meat, and can't taste good. No, I'm just kidding. And it's not fish. So what do you have for us today, Father Brian?
So one of the great traditional recipes for Lent is pretzels, and it goes way back to ancient times. It starts even with the Romans. They used to make pretzels in the shape of a Roman calendar, which is like a circle with a dot in the middle and 4 quadrants, quattro stagione. And over time, as the Christians took over, we move away from the Roman solstice calendar to a sort of an image of praying arms. And so it's kind of the pretzel shape is like a praying arm shape.
I always thought it meant the Trinity.
Yeah, and we pray to the Trinity, so it's not a bad thing to think about when we see a pretzel. And so the thing about pretzels is that they're a dough, and a lot of people get afraid of working with yeast and stuff, but I love working with dough. So it's one of my favorite things. It's a great way to work out some of the stuff in life. So in order to do this, we start with water and yeast and sugar. We'll need some flour and some salt. And with that, we'll make our pretzel dough. And then to cook the pretzel dough, we'll need some baking soda, some salt, some egg for an egg wash, and some more salt to put on top of the pretzels. And people get intimidated with the yeast and the water. And we start with the water. It needs to be sort of a nice bath temperature. If it feels good to you, it's going to feel good to the yeast. Some people, if you put your finger into water, it's really hot, it's not good for the yeast either.
Yeah.
And so I usually just go with that. We're going to take just a tablespoon of yeast. When you measure a tablespoon, it's going to be level. And we're going to add just a little bit of sugar. So just a tablespoon of sugar. This is what we call proofing the yeast. I like to give it just a little bit of the flour. This is going to call for 5.5 cups of flour. So you measure your flour out level.
I learned that in 6th grade.
There we go.
Take a knife and
level it off. So all I'm doing is just giving it a little bit of space to grow. So I'm going to put this yeast in the warm water, something to eat, flour, and a little bit of sugar. While that's sitting for a couple minutes, we'll measure off another 5 cups into our mixing bowl. Now, yeast really does not like salt. So you don't put the salt directly into the yeast. What we're going to do with the salt is put it into the flour. It kind of acts like a buffering.
Okay.
So we've got our yeast mixture now. It's starting to proof. It's starting to bubble a little bit. It's activated. I'm going to add it into we just start our mixer up. So what we're going to do is put that in a bowl and let it rise for about 2 hours.
Okay.
All right, so we're 2 hours later and the dough has risen. Remember the size of a small little ball. Now it's at least twice its size. So as we get the dough ready, we're going to start our water to boil, which is a little surprise. People don't think of pretzels being boiled. And then our oven to heat. So we're going to take our dough. So you see how that's all that air? So it's a lot wetter now because it's got the water from the yeast growing. And we do what we call punch it down. So now we're taking the air out of it. We punch down our dough, and now we're going to make pretzels. So how do we make 16 pretzels? Well, there's 2. Now I've got 4. Now I've got 8.
Now this is a math lesson.
Right, you're just going all the way down until you get down to 16. You want to get in on this?
Sure.
So maybe a little bit of flour in your hand so you don't, we're going to just roll them out. All right, so you have your, right?
Yep.
We're going to make it into a shape. So bring it across, bring the other one across. Right?
Oh.
And then I just take my finger and press down our pretzel shape. So we've got our water going. We're going to add some baking soda to the water. It goes from this really bubbling boil,
Whoa.
like a sizzling boil. It's interesting how, I don't know, it's just the carbonation does.
How much baking soda was that?
About 2 tablespoons. We're going to take our pretzels. Now they've sat for a little bit, so they've grown a little bit in size. I'm just going to lay them in. This boiling process is what gives them that crusty crust on the outside.
Oh.
Ooh, that's a slippery one. You want to be a little bit gentle because we don't want it to fall.
Okay.
We take our egg and make what's called an egg wash. And we'll paint the pretzel.
And what does this do?
This is what gives it the color. All right, so we've got our egg wash on it and a little bit of salt. And we'll put it in the oven. About 15 minutes.
Okay.
This is where I like to think about when we, in our Catholic spirituality, we think about Jesus as the bread of life. And one of the cool things about Jesus as the bread of life is he takes the stuff of our world and he makes it into something special. And bread is alive. Like literally that stuff, the yeast was growing. As long as I can feed it and nourish it, it'll stay alive for as long as I give it a place to live and stuff to eat. But you really can't eat dough. So for the dough to become food, it needs to die. So we put it into the oven and it dies. The bread, the heat of the oven, the yeast gets excited, it starts to grow again, and then it gets killed by the heat of the oven so that we can live. And it's that really beautiful image of Jesus, especially in Lent. We're moving towards this passion where Jesus gives his life that we might have life. And I thought, so Jesus says the bread of life has literally died for us that we might live forever.
It's a beautiful analogy.
All right, so it's about 15 minutes later. Let's check and see how they look.
Okay. Looking good.
Nice toasty brown. Some people would like it a little bit darker, but that looks good to me. So that's it, our
Okay.
pretzels.
Ooh, that's steamy. Thank you.
Right?
Delicious. Good job.
Thanks.
Happy Lent.
Happy Lent.